Hello students, good evening. In continuation of my series regarding fluid dynamics, fluid mechanics in fact, I'm going to conclude this whole topic of fluids right from for class 11 and 12 to whole total will be covered, and this will complete the whole issue topics related with fluid. I've already discussed, if you recall my previous videos which you can watch on my channel Physics Simplified. I've already uploaded 5 videos, and that is sequential, so that one can go there and get acquainted with everything right from the Archimedes principle, and now this is the final one, Pascal's law, Archimedes principle, then fluid statics, then bodily motion, then the conservation of momentum. I went step by step, and now the fluid dynamics. Now we are entering. We are going to discuss the last 2 remaining topics. This is flow of liquids through orifices, and this is one of the most important and most commonly used equation to solve any fluid problem. This is Bernoulli's equation. So today we'll discuss. First, we'll have a brief view, introduction, and brief thing because this is connected with this. And then we will go ahead. Yes. So, as you know, in fluid also, like in a solid, we will consider a particle motion. In fluid, this is more important because when the fluid moves, suppose that there is a pipe. We draw a pipe, and the whole fluid, this is filled with suppose water, and it's moving. This is the direction of motion. So, what will happen if we take certain section 1 and certain section 2, so we will consider a particle, say P1. This is a particle P1 now. So, and there are n number of particles at a cross section. So there are n number of particles. So in fluid, what I wanted to acquaint with you is there is something called steady flow, steady laminar flow through pipes, and turbulent flow. This is an overview because this is used, and where Bernoulli's equation cannot be used, or where the law of conservation of energy will not hold good. So there is steady or laminar flow, or every particle passing a cross section will move. All the particles at a section 1 will have same velocity, same motion, and same path of motion. And again, ditto for particles at cross section 2. If such type of motion is happening inside a pipe, then it's called steady or laminar flow. That means if you draw a line, say this is one particle, I'm saying this is P1. So after a certain interval of time, say delta t, it will come here, and the P1, I'll name it same. So what will happen? This is this line of motion. This is called this line of motion. This is path of flow. This is exactly called path of flow. So what is happening? That all, if you draw a tangent at any point, this will give the direction of flow. So in a laminar flow, what will happen? That path of flow is defined, but you can have a path of flow after a certain interval of time. If there is a path of flow, if there is a bend, it will move, but there will be loss of energy. So steady and laminar flow is one flow where all the particles at a certain cross section have the same velocity. There may be a different velocity here, but at a section they are same, and the line of flow, path of flow, you can draw a tangent and get the direction of motion. This is used, and turbulent flow is what? Turbulent flow is where if there is turbulence, you say vortex motion and all that, where there are different velocities across the cross section also. You are not definite about the flow pattern, and so when in a pipe there is huge amount of flow, or there is a bend suppose, or there is a sudden enlargement or sudden contraction, this type of motion occurs turbulent, and there is loss of energy. Here the path of flow is not definite, and you cannot get whatever called cube of flow, and the velocity at same sections across the cross section are varying. So laminar is that when the cross section is not varying abruptly, generally then laminar flow occurs. Or when quantity of flow Q is not large, generally these are the and there is no abrupt change in cross section. Abrupt change, like I decided that there is certain enlargement in a pipeline. We avoid these things. This is the reason that we avoid in a city distribution or in your home distribution or pipe network. You will see that there is gradual reduction, and that is called a reducer we provide to avoid loss of energy, because then that Bernoulli equation will not be whole good, and we can have, so that is an overview that suppose in a solid also there is a particle in motion, and then the liquid also we are considering, and we are defining it. If it is orderly motion, it's laminar motion. Okay. Now the most important, this is an overview to know when I will put these terms in future. And the another is incompressible. These are the terms. Incompressible fluid. What is incompressible fluid? Everybody know, I suppose, because of students studying class 12. Certainly, incompressible fluid is that density doesn't change with pressure. There is no change in the rho with respect to pressure. Like bulk modulus, pressure अगर है मतलब कि वो incompressible है, but it's not compressed. Generally gases are compressible. You have Boyle's law and all that. But this law, this Bernoulli equation, you have to know that what is incompressible. That density doesn't change with pressure because there are large pressure variations in a pipeline. So that is called incompressible, and then called viscous. Now, as in solid, you know friction, and you must have read in class 11, those who are studying in class 12 and those who are studying in class 11 must have heard of similar in liquid, that is called term called viscosity. Though, so viscosity is same, it is internal friction between different layer of fluid. You must have read it. This is the viscosity is a property by which different layer of liquid resist relative motion between their layer. And so if liquid is highly viscous, say honey is more viscous, or some material more viscous, they will flow less. So in generally Bernoulli equation is valid for non-viscous. Although in advanced thing you know, because once there is viscosity, there is loss of energy. So I will put this in viscous also. So these are basic assumptions for validity of law of energy. These are the basic things you know: incompressible, non-viscous, and steady flow also. That is the nature of. And there is one irrotational, but you can say when something is in turbulence. That's not the most important thing. We have already seen that conservation of momentum is valid both for liquid, both for solid and liquid, and there is an I have drawn an analogy between the two in my previous lecture itself. That's why video number 4, where you can go, video number 5, which I just uploaded today itself. You can go and see there. Before coming to this video, before watching this video, you have to see that video. You can say, so now what I am going to now explain is in a solid. Now again analogy. I will start with analogy before going in the straightway mugging the equations and getting called. That is a solid, and I say that is a liquid. So what are the energies a solid possesses? You all know one is potential energy and another is kinetic energy. Now, in the liquid, this also possesses potential. So I am writing 2 in same. I am drawing it on this. And there is one additional energy liquid possesses. You must have heard pressure pumps. You see, whenever you want to lift water from a lower potential to higher potential, what you have to pump in our household supply. We put some 5 HP pump that will again will go after this derivation of equation and go in the. So that is pressure energy. That is different. I always try to explain things because people are just mugging. Go to the books. There is a derivation. They don't know what is it. So that is the additional one, pressure energy. In potential energy, the same connotation. Connotation, you know, same meaning. Potential energy is this mgh. Here also it is mgh. Here it is half mv square. It is also half mv square here. Now pressure. Now the issue is pressure. You can't call P, but we'll see it later. That in liquid, when we go to the liquid, everything because it is moving, so we have to consider per unit weight. So everything is converted into per unit weight for liquid. Because solid has fixed mass, but liquid is flowing, so we consider a certain mass of the fluid and derive these things. Okay, so we call it per unit weight. The energy per unit weight, we in fluid terms, same thing, energy per unit weight. And then we'll derive this. So that is the overview. That liquid possesses one more thing, pressure, because there is pressure difference. There may not be pressure difference, but for fluid motion that has to be a pressure difference, because this is the prime mover. In solid, what do? You provide some initial kinetic energy. So that is the prime mover. Pump is there, so it imparts work, does work, and impart kinetic energy. That kinetic energy may be converted. So now we'll go. That is the basic difference and analogy I've drawn. Now we'll derive that Bernoulli's energy equation, and then we'll see some issues, the power of. So what is Bernoulli's energy equation? It is simply it relates and stipulates the conservation of energy in fluids. For fluids in motion, you can derive, you can solve, and we'll see in the succeeding para all the problem related, right from design of a water distribution system. So for a turbine, there are so many applications which you'll see in engineering. When you study engineering, then there are separate, these basic principles are itself used. Of course, there are certain more calculus and all that. So I'll draw, we'll go with a pipe flow. So we'll draw a cross section and level it like I'm seeing it. That is cross section 1. This is cross section 2. Area is of course varying, because you have to get a general equation, because continuity equation will also be used in conjunction, and both when combined will result. So it will tell it area of cross section is A1, A2, velocity of flow is D1, D2. Of course, continuity equation will hold good. Then the height is H1. We'll keep a datum, because in solid also we put a datum for measuring that potential head. So this is our datum, and so this is H1 and H2. Now I have to write equation. So you must have written, either you write in your notebook, or because I have to now relate it, erase it, and then write. Now I'll show pressure. The next term is I have defined velocity, height, and the pressure. So of course the pressure is P1 and the pressure is P2. This is the additional one. So the simple thing is that now, what we know from law of conservation of energy, that work done on a body or on a system results in change in kinetic energy. It is valid for everything. This is the basic cardinal principle. Cardinal is that sun rises in the east. That's cardinal principle that hold you. Everywhere it can use. You can use in electrostat. Everywhere in physics, there is that. Of course, there are certain losses, and then you will add work done, and the changing kinetic energy minus work done minus that friction loss or of that will be changing. So what will be the work done now? The question is, what is the work done? Fluid is moving. So say this is cross section. This is cross section 2. So this is the fluid. Now we are considering fluid bounded between this. So what we'll see in a time delta t, this speed is v1. So it will, this fluid at this section will advance by delta t into v1, and here it has a different velocity v2. So it will be different. So the fluid cylinder which you have assumed may be lengthened or shortened depending on the. Okay. So now this is again then this. I'm drawing this line. So I'm saying this A, B, and this A dash, B dash. So this is equal to delta t into v2. That is velocity. So what is the mass of the liquid which has flown this section? That is the precisely mass for which conservation is to be calculated. So that mass will be is what? That mass, this is what? This is distance, and this is also distance. So if you multiply by area and say this is rho, so this is rho into A1 into V1 into delta T equal to rho into A2 into V2 into delta T. This is the equation of continuity also. The same thing is the mass is, so the same, whatever fluid and both inside will a flux. This is influx, this is a flux. Because this is the mass which are entered in those times. Okay? I think everybody is this is very, I'm going in step by step. And now, what is this? This is of course pressure, okay? So pressure, and this is cross-sectional area. So now, of course, these are displaced by this much. Under what force? Under P1 into A1. This is the force now. So I'm writing, you must have noted, so now I'll write here. So now P1 into work done is what? This pressure is this direction, and this of course will be this direction, because in a free body diagram, pressure P1, P2 are linked. So work done is what? For a section I am 1, and then you can see the derivation, because I will not go much. I'm just giving you overview that this pressure, the additional term which is used in preservation, this is the reason, because this, if this is more than this, then only the fluid will flow, and of course this H1 and H2 is also issue. So you'll see, if this is more than this, then only the fluid will flow. Otherwise, fluid will flow from higher potential to lower potential. As in a solid, you drop a stone from higher to lower till you fire from a gun, then it go up, because there is initial pressure. That is the pressure term. So work done at section 1 by the pressure pin is what? Force is P1 into A1, and displacement is what? Delta T into V1. And this is minus. So दोनों को लेते हैं तो P2 into A2 into delta T into V2. Now from that you can replace it. So you will get, I've already written, this is what? This is total M. Okay. This is pressure. This is total what? Volume. So you can write it P1 into delta M, what is the mass, divided by rho, minus P2 into delta M. I have written the continuity equation in the back page. So this is the work done. So you can see P1 minus P2 into delta M by rho. This is the work done by pressure head. That is called pressure. And now what is the change in potential? Of course, delta M into G into S2 minus H1. This is the work done by potential. And if you add both the pressure and potential, then there is a change in energy, half change in kinetic. So putting this, you get change in kinetic is half delta M V2 square minus V1. If you put the equations, then we get pressure head is P1 minus P2 into delta M by rho plus delta M G H2 minus H1 equal to half delta M V2 square minus V. And you rearrange it, then you get that P1 by rho plus rho GH1 plus half MV square equal to that, and that means it's constant. So you have seen that the work is done, pressure is important, that is the difference which you don't have in solid. Solid you have a force, here you have pressure, because some force is applied, then only body will move, you can say. So that way you can say that potential energy, and there is an external force, that is the force which is acting and which is displacing the fluid, otherwise fluid will remain static. Because you see in a horizontal tube, fluid does not flow. If you make it like this, then under static, then again the pressure difference come in play. Somewhere pressure is less, somewhere pressure is more. So you can see that same pressure will that. So there this equation is valid. Now you can see the validity, that is more important, and the assumptions we have made for where we can use this equation are what precisely I have said beforehand, that it should be, fluid should be incompressible, the energy conservation. Otherwise you have to put some loss, steady flow, that is laminar flow, and non-viscous. Then only this conservation of energy holds good for 100%. Otherwise there will be some losses, and you have to account for that from section 1 minus section 2, energy E section 1 minus E section 2 equal to some losses. Otherwise, if losses are 0, then E section 1 is E section 2, and that's all good. Now the most important part is application, and where you can use this most continuity and Bernoulli equation go hand by hand in solving problems. So what we have got, that Bernoulli's equation is what? Pressure P1 divided by rho density of the fluid plus GH1 plus half V1 square equal to same P2 by rho plus GH2 plus half V2 square. Now suppose in case of fluid static, what happened? This is either you put it 0 in an open case. In an open case, there are certain cases which I will deal with. In a fluid static situation when V1 equal to V2 equal to 0, suppose there is no flow. So what will happen? Then you will get that equation P1 minus P2 by rho equal to GH2 minus H1. That is means the same hydrostatic equation. Now the second is velocity of efflux. Now this is a static situation, of course not dynamic, but this equation can be extended. So this is a what is versatile equation. Now second is like if you have a there are so many one of the questions is lovely. There is a velocity of efflux through an orifice. There is a tank and there is an orifice. The tank cross sectional area is A1 and the orifice cross sectional area is A2. Here you can use. Of course, another thing is that if you differentiate that analogy can be extended for this also. The same analogy will be here. Here the area of cross section initial will be this and A2. So velocity of efflux for a vertical hole and through a horizontal hole. Both are same. The equation are same. So what we will do? We have to now. What is happening? That here the pressure is atmospheric. Here also the pressure is atmospheric. So now pressure part will not play. That is the because in closed flow in a pipeline that pressure hold good because we use some pump. But in an open situation when there is hydrostatic, you can say hydrostatic not that both are same. That is atmosphere. So pressure is 0. So we'll write the equation now. Bernoulli equation. So what will happen? And this is of I am taking data map here. So section 1, section 2. So this is suppose H. So I am writing equation now. Pressure head is 0. P1 by I'll write a bracket with 0. This is 0 because atmospheric. Yeah, P at I am writing. Okay, I am writing P atmosphere. So P atmosphere divided by rho plus rho GH plus, of course, this when there is efflux, this will also, the layer will move down. So if say from H it go to H dash, then there is a velocity here also. That is the rate of depletion, and that is equal to dH dash by dt, and that is precisely that V1. We'll call this V1 because that, and here efflux velocity is V2. Is V efflux here also and here also. So we'll write this rho GH plus half rho, and this is V1 square. Again P atmos, and here what will happen? 0. There is no potential. The datum is there. So this term becomes 0, and this will become half rho VT square. So now how you can get, how the catch is, there are two unknown. This will cancel out. There is a 2 unknown. So you have to get, there are 2 unknown V1 and V2 as you know, and 1 equation. So there here comes continuity will come in play, and you will use another equation. So first we write this one. So this is equal to, now we cancel out and make it so it will become 2GH equal to V2 square minus V1 square. First term. But you don't know V1 and V2 both, but you want to get this. So what we'll do? So to eliminate 2 variables, 2 unknown, and so we'll write A1 V1 equal to A2 V2. We substitute for one of them. We want to get V2, so we'll eliminate V1. So V1 equal to A2 by A1 into V2, and we'll put it here. So we'll get V2 square 1 minus A2 by A1 square, something like that. And generally A1 is very large, so A2 I1 generally is very less, so we'll say it tends to 0, and then we'll got that golden equation, what we get in solid if you drop it from a height at. Here also a particle of liquid is dropping from a height at, this is also dropping from a, so it will come to boil down to square root 2gs. Otherwise you can use this equation and you can get V2 from this. V2 equal to square root 2gs divided by a denominator which. This is very interesting because now the another use is the Venturi meter. Again, the Venturi meter is another one. This is very this what is the Venturi meter? Venturi meter is a electricity. You have ammeter, voltmeter, and manometer in hydrostatic, and so for dynamics we have got a Venturi meter. So this is a constriction in neck, and then again it is large. For a pipe flow, if you make it this, then you can calculate the flow rate. So what is the amount of flow rate? So Venturi meter is used for calculating flow rate. It is simple. It works on the principle of manometer also, because we will install a tube, freestanding tube here, and liquid will rise, and that is the difference. Of course, because here the cross section is A1. V1 is the, and here it is A2, V2. So again, and H is same, H1 here, H1 here. So if you put here the same, and pressure is here P1, of course pressure 2 is here P2, sorry. In the constricted neck is P2. Of course, velocity will be here more, so pressure will be less. So once pressure will be, there is a difference in pressure. When you see these freestanding tubes, then in the mercury column, or you put some manometer, so there is a difference in this. You can, this is experimental way of determining the through laboratory. You can use this using this equation, but this equation is theoretically used. So this is you will observe, because here pressure is more, velocity is less, conservation of energy here, pressure is less, velocity is more, because there is a constriction from pandemic. So you write it P1 plus half rho V1 square equal to P2 plus half rho V2 square. And P1 minus P2 will be, of course, rho GH, because that is the difference. And V, for V, you can use that, I like this, P1 plus half rho, this is Q, the discharge is Q, so Q is A1 V1 equal to A2 V2. So experimentally you will see this drop, we will get, I'll see, so you can substitute it, so it become Q square by A1 square, and P1 minus P2 is half rho Q square by Q square, and P1 minus P2 is what? Rho GH. This is the difference, whatever the liquid manometer liquid is there. So you can calculate the discharge, that's all. So this is very versatile, and some more, I'll deal with some, now for ending I'll have some, now I'm dealing with a very important and very interesting, we all have pumps installed in your household connections. So how will you calculate the power of the pump? Suppose you have a tank, of course at a terrace, at a height of, say your building is 6 story high, and height is say 18 meter, I'm telling in term, generally 3 meter, and you are pumping water from here, here is a borewell or something else, and so you have to install a pump, because that is the difference. So how will you calculate the capacity? And this is a question we generally, this is advanced level, but this type of question come in JEE main and JEE advanced. I'm remembering one of my questions, although I don't subscribe by solving questions, one get the basics, rather basics will lead to questions. It is the other way around, that you know the geography whole and then you can make your own path. So that way, suppose in this is a question, and suppose you want here, there is a tank, you want the capacity discharge is given here. That discharge is of course in LPM. Suppose in LPM or LPS, liter per minute or liter per second is given. So how can you calculate? I have written this equation. You are seeing what is power, rate of doing work. So in this case, what will happen? This is also atmospheric. This is also atmospheric. But the tank there is atmospheric. So then if you write Bernoulli's equation again, and then this will solve your everything. And this is a question I suppose I don't remember those questions because I go for basics. So now you'll see what will happen. This is the datum I am seeing. So H is 0. And initially there is low speed here because this is static water is drawn out from a reservoir. So this is also 0. I'm striking it out. No, but many people don't know, they just cram it. P1 is atmospheric and P2 is atmospheric. Sorry, P1 is not atmospheric. This is pump. This is actually pump pressure. You have to make pump pressure. And this is atmospheric. So it is atmospheric plus or plus. So I can say the difference. So what will happen? That we will have an H equivalent here are written. So what is that H equivalent you can see now? What is H equivalent? That is the force to require. So H equivalent is whatever per unit weight we always take. You have to take per unit weight. So if you divide it by per unit weight is rho g, mg equal to rho vg. So in fluid we call it divided by rho g. So if you divide it by rho g, so it is, and these are 0. So this is 0, this is 0. So the H equivalent we will say. So H equivalent equal to H2 plus V2 square by 2g. And this is precisely, you put it, and m by t. What is m by t? So here generally people make a mistake. There is a velocity head also. So because, and this will be calculated from this continuity equation. So Q equal to A2 V2. That is the diameter of pipe where it is flown. So you can calculate V2. And H is there 18 meter. So it is more than 18 meter. What I'm saying is. And now the another, and this is of course in watt, and then HP, you know, 746 you divide it by, and then you got HP. So what is M by T? I have already dealt with in my previous video. M by T is what? Simple rho Q. Because rho into V, so V by T Q, so rho Q into H equivalent, and you get the capacity of the pump. So simple. So this type of question will come. You may have various things. You go stick to the basic. You can see and strike out of your. I think this I've dealt the whole fluid chapter. Please give your feedback. Go through it. Work on your basics, and definitely read NCERT first. Your first book should be NCERT. If you read NCERT, it is more than enough, and you understood it. And I will put a question for all of you. This is also related to motion, of course, for a particle motion. That is a, I'm writing this question. If a person throws a ball upward there are 3 situations. In a train moving with constant velocity, I'm writing, I think, constant, uniform, you can say velocity. Train with a acceleration or deceleration. If you can solve this, then I will think that you have got the basics. और आपने पहले कभी नहीं बनाया, खुद से कर बनाया. So what will be the path of the particle ball, or whether the person will able to catch the ball? Somebody should answer. I will just give a few hints. You know where the Newton's law, second law of motion and inertia are valid. That is the hint to develop. This case you will able to catch the ball. That is the hint. You can work it, and in an accelerated whether it is behind or after that you have to calculate and justify. This will be calculated also behind or front, because this will not, you will not be able to catch the ball. So that is called, this is what? This is accelerated frame of reference. That's the hint. Of course, when it is accelerated, pseudo force is there. So if a ball is thrown and it is accelerating, so of course, this will have projectile motion now. Now see, there is a G acting. In this case, there is no acceleration. Acceleration is 0. So the path is like this. Only G is acting. But when there is acceleration, deceleration, there is a pseudo force. MAX, you can say this is G. And according, you can put and get the equation. So this is a very important question. People just get it by heart. I have shown you. When it is accelerating, ball will fall behind and there will be a parabolic or something. The equation you can calculate as in projectile motion, because very simple. This is, you can get this vertical, and then you can acceleration, and you can integrate it. Something acceleration is given, so you can get that velocity at time t, and then you can get that. So this is a question I'm just, and I'm concluding the whole view. Thanks. Read NCERT. Do send, give me feedbacks, watch the video, and you can ask any question I'll try to solve, or any confusion. Thanks.